Breathwork will make you do that. It will, like, not make you, but it will be that medicine that allows you to let go, loosen the grip.
Often people really just need to hear one other person letting their freak flag fly and make some noise to finally start to let a little noise come through the throat. And then once they've done it the one time, then it's off to the races. Then it's like, oh, right, everyone, okay, we're all releasing. It's all okay. This isn't weird. No one's looking at me. No one's judging me. And then the sensations that can come up for people and what can manifest for people during their journey. That's so cool too, because every journey is different, just like every day in our lives. Part of why I love human design so much is because the core ethos pretty much says none of us make our best decisions from the place of our conscious, logical, rational mind. It's viewed as a really helpful analytical tool to crunch numbers and like sort through information, but we actually make our most optimal decisions, each of us, from a unique energy center within us and not the mind.
In your divine essence you shine. In your divine essence you thrive. I'm your host, Riss, and you're listening to Essence Podcast.
Hey, soul babes. Welcome to the Essence Podcast. I'm your host, Riss, and in this space, I dive into the world of holistic wellness, creativity, and spirituality. Consider me your intuitive bestie here to guide you along the journey of reconnecting with your essence. Together, we'll explore what it means to live unapologetically, authentically, and in alignment with our soul's purpose. And in this week's episode, I have a very special guest, a guest I've been wanting on here since day one. Technically, my first guest of season 2, so I'm actually really happy about this one. She is a soul sister. She is a breathwork facilitator. She's also a human design reader. And there's just so much we're going to get into. Number one, the foundation of what we really want to hold here is our friendship. So without further ado, I want to introduce Jennifer Baute. Hey, Jen.
Hi, love. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Of course. I am so happy you're here. We are going to be touching on the foundation of our human design. So I'm so excited for this because we're going to be really playing around with how we operate and also the growth that we've been through. This could be a potential way of letting this message come to you as if you don't already have your person, your friendship, your groups, your gals, those people that you come to that can hear you, that support you through any storm. This is a message that's going to hold really deep for this. So Mercury retrograde just happens.
Yep.
And what a challenge that was. We really did use all our might in a beautiful way to enhance our relationship. I feel like we really vocalized how we were feeling and holding space for that and honoring just how we're being discerning or putting a boundary or just operating like in our personal life and in our friendship.
Agreed. This retrograde cycle has been extra potent.
It has.
It feels like, right? Oh my gosh. And I'm so grateful for how we've navigated it, like individually and within our friendship.
The pivots that we had. So a lot of like our conversation, like our group chat or the group thread that not even group. I'm like, well, our higher selves were in it. So our text messages basically have been just going back and forth of, yes, I can make it or no, I can, but let's also let in the divine flow of like what happens and allowing a lot of room for error, a lot of room for like miscommunication and then like laughing about it and being like, that's typical Mercury retrograde. And here we are again, like just doing our best to keep in the peace and the grace through it all.
Right. And what I latch on to from what you just said most is the word peace, honestly. And I feel like something that you and I have both gotten very good at, which is great, is nonviolent communication. I feel like we are both quite masterful with that form of communication because we're also both just deeply gentle and caring people in our souls. And right, this is what we discover when things get crunchy during an extra potent Mercury retrograde cycle in our relationships, when things do go off the rails. and we are asked to adapt and pivot, and the plan changes at the last minute, or our energy changes at the last minute, and our sense of availability for what's happening shifts, all of these things can very easily be resolved if you understand how to communicate in a nonviolent, respectful way with your friends.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, 100%. Because personally, like through my journey of friendships, like I love the friends that I have, and, you know, how I've been able to have unique experiences with them. But one thing that I do feel like I had been healing from like a lot, and with you, I just feel like it's a game changer in that, because it's the idea of honoring that, like, the way that you speak about, like, I feel in my gut that this is, you know, not sitting with me, or I want to be in solitude or take time for myself. That has been that mirror that's allowed me to do the same, because I sometimes, yeah, I get in my way of like, well, I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings if I like say no, or, you know, just like all these different things that we sort of say to ourselves, or that I say to myself, because I don't want to basically not hurt anybody's feelings. It's that people-pleasing energy. And just really breaking that, and knowing that if that person really like respects and loves you and honors you, that they would, you know, understand where you're coming from. So you taking that initiative to be like, and very firmly like saying it, you know, I feel this inside that this is not aligned, is something that was like, I've said that a few times to like some people, and they're kind of like, okay, like they're like aligned in like inside, like
in your body, what?
Exactly, like it's some like taboo, like they don't listen to their body. And I do feel that is something that comes from childhood too. Is like when our parents, maybe, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but like when your parent is telling you to go and do something that you don't really feel aligned you want to do. For example, maybe like you don't want to go to one of your cousin's house that just has so much chaotic energy, or hug them, or, you know, just like certain things. And they kind of want you to go out of your comfort zone to do that, and not really listen to your body. So I do feel like that's something I was like starting to reflect on, was like, I was feeling like I at a young age was being told to like go to do things that I didn't necessarily feel I was aligned with wanting to do.
Wow. That's a very interesting perspective and helpful one for me to hear, because I feel like what lands for me when you share that is actually how different my upbringing was with two parents who are only children.
Oh, yes.
So I have no extended family by blood, and both my parents are like very independent people. I would describe their relationship dynamic as very interdependent, not codependent. That's the model I saw growing up. And so I'm really thankful. I feel like my parents have really encouraged me and my siblings all to go our own way to an extent. There are still expectations and pressures for sure that I've had to deal with from parents growing up.
Right.
Of course. But when it specifically comes to this theme of, listening to the body, listening to our inner signals that do communicate so clearly to us all the time, if we just get out of the way and we don't listen to the data processing tool we all have installed up here quite as much. The body is constantly speaking and telling us so clearly, actually, what we really need and want. It's just that there are a lot of competing energies and stimuli in this wild world we live in that condition us in like kind of the opposite direction sometimes. Obviously, I've shared with you how part of why I love human design so much is because the core ethos of human design pretty much says none of us make our best decisions from the place of our conscious, logical, rational mind. It's viewed as a really helpful analytical tool to crunch numbers and like sort through information, but we actually make our most optimal decisions, each of us, from a unique energy center within us, and not the mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am so ready to get into human design with you and start to get more of that clarity of like how that looks. I mean, you did share with my chart, so I would like to also just share it with everyone what that looks like, the body graph. So we will present that here. But before we get started, I do want to talk about our synchronistic moment of like how we even like met each other.
Okay.
Was wild. So that was a journey where I was like, oh my gosh, that's how I know you are cosmically aligned to be my friend, like to be in my circle.
Totally.
And I mean, just, it's been about like 2.5 years that we've been friends, like really growing together and holding space for each other and hosting events together. We've been through just a beautiful journey, and we still have so much more to go.
Oh yeah.
But in the beginning, before I met her, I went to a store. I went to a meditation store, and I personally thought that this meditation store was going to be a studio that I was going to actually like hold sound baths at. I was like, hey, let me step into the store. Like, I've never been here. And there was no classes going on or anything. So there was nobody even working there really. It was like somebody covering a shift type of thing. So I wasn't getting as much information from this place, but then I saw they had a book section. And so this book section, I was like, let me take a look. And I ran into the book, Woman Who Run with the Wolves. Yes, that book right there. I didn't know how magical it was at all, but the author's name is Clarissa. So that right there was enough for me to buy it. And it was $7. So I was like, okay, fine. Like, this seems like I'll just give it a go, and I will have it like with me. But I didn't even necessarily like skim through it. I don't know. I felt like I was sort of just like picking up the book without knowing like what I was going to do with it.
Right.
And so that's when a mutual friend of ours, Danielle, that's actually been here on this podcast, she was putting on her Instagram that she was joining a book club. And this book club was for the book that I had just bought, Woman Who Run with the Wolves. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, this is cool. Like, I just bought this book. Like, I totally want to be in here. And so I messaged her, and she was basically like, yeah, join the book club. And she sent me the address, and I show up at Jen's house without Danielle actually being there. I was kind of like, oh, hello, everyone. But it was like, after that, I don't know, just a whole sparks were just flying for me. And meeting you was just like, oh, okay. Like, I'm in Malibu, and I'm enjoying this like whole beautiful girl time with this book I just randomly got. It was like a whole synchronistic moment.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you know, like, you and I both like to use that word ping, right? Which, shout out to Lacey Phillips from To Be Magnetic, technically. Yeah, ping is a term that I've sort of borrowed from her. But I see that beautiful story as, just such a great example of you at that time in your life, just following your pings. You didn't need to understand the why.
Right.
You didn't even need to understand what was in the book yet. You felt it. And so you got the book. Yeah. And then in real time, everything just ping, 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 just kind of lined up for you. Yeah. To experience it. And I mean, my gosh, that book. PSA for Women Who Run with the Wolves for a second. Honestly, all men and women on planet Earth should read this book. Absolutely. It's just absolutely incredible. And one of those books that I feel like we both know we will read. Yeah. We will pick it up at various points throughout our life and our womanhood and glean something new and beautiful and illuminating every time. It was, it's so meant to be and magical, us meeting through that container.
It was. And I always like look back at it, and I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you, Divine, for allowing me to be that in alignment with myself, to just be curious. It just started with curiosity. I feel that was like the container, the opener of like, okay, I'm gonna have, sometimes it will not, if not all the time, it's like we have this like thing that we're focused on, and we have our way of perceiving it, and then there's like a really big picture as to what this is all playing out to be, right? So my intention was totally different from what I ended up getting, and it was something greater. It's always that like manifesting, when you are manifesting, it's like this or something greater. Yes. And that was part of that.
Oof. And thank you for that reminder right now too. I feel like it's something that has been showing up in conversation a lot this week. When I'm talking with really anyone who I care about, this sense of not only dream bigger, but also be open to floods of abundance, the likes of which you haven't even imagined yet. Right. Or the dream evolving in like such a wildly flourishing direction that you didn't even see coming, right? Truly, being open to being surprised by the goodness.
Just even letting space for that to happen. Because I mean, I remember like even my first vision board during that time, I was really getting into like vision boarding, and I've already had started like manifesting and writing down things. But, you know, in the beginning, when I was starting to manifest things, it was more like, it wasn't coming from the heart center as much, you know, like in the beginning, it was like, I want to manifest this, or like some object or this experience. And it's kind of like, it's, you know, you could do better than that, you know? But then when I started to get more in tune with my spiritual side of just understanding what I wanted and what I craved, or like what I was really wanting to call in, and that was just a friendship that could really be an anchor that allows me to flourish in who I am, and that is accepting myself, you know, being that mirror back to me. Also, just really having the same connections, because I was moving out of friendships too where they just weren't as aligned, you know, like some friends and relationships, they just fall away because they aren't really in sync with like the personality that, you know, you're continuously building and moving into. And so for me, I mean, that was also the witchiness, like getting into understanding how to even work with herbs and candle magic and just so much that I was yet to like really indulge with. It was all like, that was part of the manifesting now that I was actually brewing up, but I totally let that go. And so that's when, the whole synchronistic moment of having you and joining the ride with you. And this has been us constantly indulging in everything that I basically was trying to manifest.
Yeah, exactly. And that is, I mean, I genuinely believe that. I know you and I both do. This is what's possible when you truly come to believe it's possible for you.
Absolutely.
That's the core of all of this, is just, it's the belief.
Yes.
I totally relate to what you were saying, and that like in my 20s, I had periods where I feel like I essentially lost my sense of belief in like me being able to realize the dream of my ideal life. I got too bogged down in mental conditioning, and in the perceptions of other people. And so I definitely navigated periods where maybe I felt depressed, or kind of lost. Yeah, very confused. Even though I was still technically moving forward in life and pursuing my goals. And to discover through surrender, through letting go, through like just loosening the grip, right? Even this motion.
Yeah.
Now you can receive.
Yes.
Your hands are open and relaxed, right?
Right.
Just even that simple act, and then actually curating your consciousness, like learning to truly live from that place day to day of here I am anchored, my hands are open, my heart is open. It's not that I am totally porous and I'm allowing everything in. The boundaries that I need to have in place to feel safe are still there, and they're strong and they're palpable. But there's no constriction. There isn't this like expenditure of energy being sort of, you know, for lack of a better word, wasted on just worrying about what it looks like to other people.
Oof. Okay. This gets me into like now having you speak about breath work, because I could definitely see how that also, you being a facilitator of that and holding space for breath work and, you know, giving it to the collective, how that has played a tremendous role for you, you know, especially with the releasing, because breath work will make you do that. It will like not make you, but it will be that medicine that allows you to let go, loosen the grip.
Yeah. The phrase that comes up for me is, it'll take you there.
Yes, there you go. That's it will take you there.
Totally.
So yeah, just share a little bit of that. I mean, I personally, I love when she is offering it at our events. Like, you're always doing such a beautiful job at helping others release. So even, you know, the people that come to our events, they always come with like leave, or they come with this curiosity and they're like open to it and they're like, yeah, sure. But then like they leave with like, oh my goodness, like
Yeah.
I just felt this whole rush like come out of me or through me, or like, you know, just feeling their bodies, like being so present because the breath is bringing them so anchored into like understanding who they are and like what's going on underneath the surface. So I want to dive into that and see your experiences like on the other side of just watching and how, you know, breath work has really just been that anchor for you.
I love that question. Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, obviously, it's a totally different experience to be facilitating rather than be in the journey. As I guess you could say, a student. Of course, I first came to breathwork for my own healing, like most people who become breathwork facilitators. And my first experience with my teacher was so potent and also so filled with synchronicity. In fact, I kind of want to touch on that for a second because it's just such a great story. I'll nutshell it. I think I've told you this story a while ago, but I can't remember. Either way, I walked, my breathwork teacher's name is Marlise Joubert. She's very talented. She's based in Santa Monica. And I walked into her home to have my first private session. And when I do privates, that's different than a workshop, retreat, or class format. Privates will entail a bit of something akin to talk therapy, just sort of dropping in, making sure that, you know, you're creating a very safe and comfortable space, and just talking very openly and honestly about what has brought you to this work. What would you seek to release through this work? Like, what is your sense of maybe what has gotten lodged, jammed, stuck, repressed, stagnant within you? And you don't necessarily have to have the answers. It's okay to also not have any answers to that. And just essentially say, I don't have answers. That's why I'm here. All I know is I'm not feeling good and I need help. That's also a great answer. But either way, what I had mirrored back to me by my teacher, which was pretty great, was, and she was spot on about this. At that point in my life, she said, okay, you're totally out of touch with your fire element. That's what's happening here. Because of you having to deal with toxic anger from other people growing up and the ways that you shape-shifted to avoid being on the receiving end of, situations where anger came up, you totally snuffed out your own inner fire to an extent. I also interestingly ran into gut issues a bit before I came to breathwork. I see that very much as a reflection of my digestive fire having issues.
Wow.
And she just reminded me, she was like, you know, yes, anger it can be fiery, but you also need to remember that things like passion, joy, vitality, exuberance, enthusiasm, zest for life, that comes from fire too, not just anger, right? And then not only that, anger can actually be very helpful when it is expressed in the correct way. And it's a constructive expression of anger, let's say. Especially when it comes to collective feminine rage. But anyway, right, I go into my experience. It's an hour. Wow. Totally cosmic ride to some other plane. As I'm starting to come out of it at the end, I literally smell, I'm assuming it's the smell of the herbs, the sacred herbs in the room, Palo Santo, sage, right, all wafting around the room. It's very smoky. And then after a while, I hear Marlise say, okay, I'll be right back. The cushion is on fire. And I hear her leave the room, and I look down to the right of my head, and somehow through the abalone shell and the towel she had laid down for the herbs she lit, the fire had made its way down and singed a hole in the cushion right next to my head.
No, I have not heard this, but wow.
Pretty wild.
That is wild.
And she came back in the room, and I said to her, and Marlise is also a projector. We'll get to that with human design, right? But she literally, I said to her, I'm not going to lie, that strikes me as a very uncanny synchronicity, considering your whole message to me before my journey began was that I was out of touch with my fire and I need to get back in touch with it. And she just said, yeah, I'm not going to lie, nothing like that has ever happened with me with a client. That was wild.
That is wild. That is wild. Like literally fire was next to you. And it was like you just had this whole moment of releasing this fire.
Completely.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what I find shows up for me when I feel like I am following my pings.
Yes.
And I'm living my life truly from that like genuine, authentic kind of flow state. that is when I find that life shows up for me in this way, where there are just so many beautiful synchronicities constantly piling up that I cannot ignore it. So to bring it back to your original question, when I'm facilitating for others, wow, I mean, I genuinely feel it is an honor and a privilege to hold space in this way, because we do live in a world where so many of us constantly feel we have to stifle our natural responses to things in the environments we navigate. And breathwork offers a space to fully let go. Yeah. And especially, gosh, when it's those times like you and I have led events together where we have 13 to 20 people in a room and it's literally sounds like a jungle. People are screaming, crying, hooting, hollering, hoo, hoo, hoo. You know, any sounds that come up are coming up and out. And then just that, obviously, that beautifully refreshing sense of just like liberation that people are glowing with after breathwork because they've given something up that they didn't need to carry anymore.
Yeah. I feel like everyone's glowing after.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, the last thing I'll say is too, I think another thing that's so beautiful about breathwork is that you also don't necessarily have to understand what it is you gave up.
Right. Right. It doesn't need to make sense.
It doesn't actually have to. And I feel like the more you do breathwork, the more you realize as well, right, how conditioned we do get to reach for the why, for the mental explanation of the thing. And when you can also get to that place where you can just let go and embrace, you know what? I feel a lightness in my being. I know I've let something go. I know that I feel better. That's all I need to understand.
Yeah.
It's pretty beautiful.
It is very beautiful. I mean, every time I witness it and I observe, I kind of like, I do, as a healer of myself, like I do my best to not like really be as involved, but I just can't help it. So like not the last time, but a previous event that we had, I used my tuning forks to like help out because it was just so potent that I was like, I just cannot sit here. Like I gotta partake in this and like transmute this and like move this energy. But I mean, it's so powerful and wild just how it becomes this whole like union of like, even I had a few family members, my boyfriend's family, join in, and like some of them don't really cry or like have just these emotions come up, and then all of a sudden they're like, I was crying, I was like feeling like the tension like through my like fingers, which I want to like also cover, you know, this like the different sensations people get.
Totally.
But yeah, just the feedback that happens. But then again, like I said, like the glow, like you can see everyone just sort of come out of this like, wow, like this like impeccable like energy cleanse that they gave themselves. Like they did that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Struck the landing. So true. I mean, I find myself saying at the end of most classes, you know, please thank yourself. You showed up, you let the breath do the work for you. You did that. I mean, I'm the facilitator, so I view myself as the sort of the conductor, right? Everyone in the container is bringing their energy, and it's my responsibility to make sure everyone's safe and anchored, and to move the energy in the correct way. If I am sensing that things want to come up, but they're getting lodged and they're not coming out, and there's resistance coming up for people, you know, that's when I come in with maybe a mantra, an affirmation, or even just a cue to scream, to laugh, to make some noise. Yeah. Often people really just need to hear one other person letting their freak flag fly and make some noise to finally start to let a little noise come through the throat. And then once they've done it the one time, then it's off to the races. Then it's like, oh, right, everyone, okay, we're all releasing. It's all okay. Right. This isn't weird. No one's looking at me. No one's judging me. I mean, yeah, breathwork, God. And then the sensations that can come up for people and what can manifest for people during their journey. That's so cool too, because every journey is different, right? Just like every day in our lives. Some people experience these really distinct inner visions, right? And like whole narratives can get conjured for them. Some people don't really see anything per se, but experience really, really distinct physical sensations. Things like really intense vibrations, pulsations, tingling, especially in the hands and feet or throughout the body. Some people roll into kind of Kundalini S shapes with their spine. Some people experience very intense cramping in the hands, feet, and around the mouth. And I have facilitated when cramping can take over the entire body in a way where people can get very triggered and scared because it is a very intense sensation. And then, and then it's my job to remind the person, you are okay. You're safe here. I know this feels deeply uncomfortable. It might even feel painful, but you're actually okay. And you're going to come out of this. You're not dying. That, and then of course, emotional release. That's probably the most beautiful thing I feel I get to witness, is just whether it's coming in the form of tears or screams or laughter or just noises, just witnessing people, letting go is just, it's just such a gift.
It is. It is. I mean, it's just beautiful to witness and also partaking in it. We just had our own session during Mercury retrograde just to get ourselves in alignment and also allow ourselves to release. Like she's, how you mentioned is like the, letting go and allowing the divine flow to happen, which I felt like was really a big theme for the peak of Mercury, like doing its thing. I mean, for when we separated that whole week, I mean, we listened to this app, Chani, if you've seen it or you've heard of it or not, but it's an astrology app. And so we like to go back and forth on it and like really dive into that, and answering like different questions that Chani offers and stuff. So that's what we did the last time we were together. And that I felt opened with the breath work, opened a portal, a gateway, especially with Mercury doing its thing. Like it was like, okay, girl, we're going to go in, like we're going to go deep. But remember the divine flow, like this is for you to not take control over anything, but more so to flow into that. So the breathwork session really became just turning my will into thy will and allowing that divine flow to happen. And you were hosting so many beautiful things in the weekend, and I was hoping to make one of them, but I did not. And it's okay though, because here we are. Exactly. But I mean, even in that case, it was again just having to go with the divine flow of listening to the body. So that turns us back into listening to the body, which is going to be our human design chatting now, and getting into how that looks like, also just I want to see like where that's at for me. I know you always say the spleen.
Yes, I have the splenic authority.
So let's go into that pivot into human design. And I'm also learning this kind of for the first time. Like she's definitely told me about it. Jen's definitely been vocal about it, but I'm like, what? Can you explain this again? So here we are. We're all just gonna learn again.
We're living and learning together. Exactly.
Yes.
And I know I love that. I feel like it's great for our first sit down together on Essence of Risk, because human design, I feel like, is starting to emerge into popular culture more, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm starting to encounter more and more people who are aware of it, who understand at least the fundamentals, but it's still very new, and it's viewed as quite new age by a lot of people.
Right.
And it does get very layer and granular and complex. So it's not necessarily like, oh, great, in 5 minutes, I totally understand how all of this works.
Right.
No, I mean, there's a reason that I went through a certification and training program to become a reader. So today we'll start more with like the basics, and maybe some more of like what we have in common, and then
and how that looks like for on a grander scale, like even just our friendship dynamic, like putting those together.
Okay, perfect. And I'll take it back to really how you opened the question. I love it, like centering in the body, right? So human design, it produces what's called a body graph for you. Astrology is an element here. Human design is very much its own system, but it also contains the signatures of some pre-existing spiritual and philosophical systems. There are elements of the Kabbalah, of the I Ching, of the chakra system, and of astrology, all at play in human design. So you use your birth date and time to create your body graph. And then from there, you find out which of the 5 core energy types you are. And then we all have these other components to our design. Our authority, meaning like the seat of our best decision making, essentially in life. We have our profile lines, that corresponds more to the I Ching. And our incarnation cross, which is more related to sort of like our karmic signature in this lifetime. Like, why are you really here and what are you going to be really doing? Like, not only in your individual life, but on behalf of the collective. And that doesn't necessarily always mean it's going to manifest in the form of career or vocation. It could manifest more in just like energetically how you move through the world and the impact you just always tend to make on all the environments you enter. But sometimes it also, shows up very distinctly in the form of work. For example, right, you have an incarnation cross, the cross of service. That makes so much sense.
That word is so funny. I say that so much.
What comes up for you when you say the word service, when you hear the word service?
Yeah, I really think of being of service to the collective in a way that honors the gifts that I have. And one of them I feel is holding space, really being that nurturer. And it really lights me up when I can think about those, like actually just being a nurturer and holding space, like, and being of service in that way. So just putting that together is the energy of what I feel. And what it's starting to look like as a vision is potentially in my future having I used to call it like a temple for the soul. So like a meditation center. That's what it is that I really want, and to be of service to, like, in this way that just holds those feelings of being in the place where I can nurture and just hold space. So that is essentially what being of service really feels like. But right now I'm doing that in a way that I can with our friendship and with other relationships. So the service is still servicing, but just in different ways.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Yes. Yeah, well, and just because it's a natural pivot, right? My incarnation cross, by contrast, it's called the left angle cross of penetration. When I read this part of my human design when I was first new to it, it was definitely one of the things that stood out to me the most, where I felt very seen, very recognized when I read it. The thrust of my incarnation cross, in contrast to yours, right, which is very centered on you naturally gravitating toward positions of service, and then especially so for you, spiritual service.
Right. Spiritual service. That's exactly the word what I aim for.
Yes, like sacred servitude.
Sacred service, yeah.
And then, I totally see as your friend as well how it goes hand in hand with your journey of being of service to yourself, to your most authentic, highest self as well. Mm-hmm. And the more you are serving her, ultimate goddess Riss, the more you are able to serve the collective, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even service being like, again, even this, like hosting this podcast and sharing knowledge and authenticity and just unapologetically being in your essence is really that message of like how I'm also seeing that service is taking place.
Totally. Yeah. And with my incarnation cross, by contrast, it's definitely not as related to vocation. Like I was saying, it's interesting in that yours, I feel like I can see how it connects more directly to that part of life.
Yeah.
It also very much connects, yes, to your own personal and spiritual evolution. Mine is more the thrust of my incarnation cross is essentially along the lines of, most environments I land in, I am going to operate as the voice of truth. The key for projectors is to wait for the invitation. So this is usually a very potent lesson for most projectors.
Okay.
Most projectors usually have a journey of maybe overextending themselves or not really fully being invited into something, giving their opinion, saying the things that they see, and it not being very well received. Or the person just being like, I wasn't looking for that feedback from you. I wasn't inviting that.
Yeah.
It becomes really, really key for projectors to learn how to wait for the invitation and to really sense that. Is this person or is this situation or opportunity fully opening to me? Am I feeling drawn in and fully welcomed in, like genuinely invited. And if that's the feeling, then great. Go ahead and give your feedback or get involved. If that's not the feeling, listen to that, would be my advice to any other projectors. You are a generator. Generators are awesome. Generators you're all connected to your sacral. This is what I probably envy the most as a projector, because fun fact, projectors and manifestors do not have defined sacrals.
What does that mean?
So, okay, yeah. I'll get into that again. This is just like a brief overview of a couple components here. So essentially, when you have a defined sacral energy center, right, that essentially means that you can pull from that place when you need energy. So generators, for example, I find that this tends to work well as an example. All right. Let's say it's something as simple as you're hanging out with a friend and the friend goes, I want to go on a walk. Okay. I'm sitting there. It's a hot day. I say, oh yeah, like kind of knee-jerk response. Yes. And then the friend takes a bit of time, maybe like pouring a glass of water and doing other stuff, and some time passes, and then I start to feel, oh, it is really hot, and I worked out earlier, and you know what, now I'm kind of changing my mind. I don't know if I really want to go on this walk anymore. I don't have that sacral to tap into, to pull energy from. And so it's easier for projectors and manifestors to sort of have this experience of changing our minds because we don't have that energy center to pull from. Whereas for a generator or an MG, a manifesting generator, there's sort of this like internal pressure that's always operating on you once you've already said yes to something, said yes to moving forward with it, where maybe even if your mood has shifted, you might feel more prone to just move forward with the thing because you said yes to it already.
Right.
And that not only that, when you find, a relationship, a job, any container where you do feel like a deep sense of purpose is being fulfilled for you, it's almost like you have limitless energy to pull from when that is the setup energetically for you. And it's not like, you know, a relationship or a job or an opportunity you can tell isn't really for you.
Yeah.
When the feeling is, oh, this is for me. Oh, the feeling I'm getting in my body is I'm all lit up. This is totally a yes. There's no confusion about it. That's what I envy most about generators. You have this defined sacral energy center that you can just keep pulling from. You can burn the midnight oil. You can work long hours as long as you feel that deep sense of purpose is being fulfilled for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is like really only like seen in a generator manifester.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do feel that. I feel this, like I can go for hours on something that I actually really am committed to and enjoy. But I'm also like, I guess this could also play, and I'm curious to know if you could pick up anything of this, of like me also being a Capricorn and how that sort of mirrors itself. Because I do feel like if I have my mindset on something, I always thought it was just because of the Capricorn, but I guess it also plays with my generator energy. Of also being like very discerning with like, no, I want this. Like this is the one. Like, and I have my eye on the thing, and then I'm gonna keep going that way. So I guess I'm just like puzzling together how that's working. Yeah. As I'm learning about this and how it plays out.
Definitely. Well, and I'll say this, you know, I made some notes before we met today on some of some of your fully activated channels, some of the aspects we share. That might need to be saved for a follow-up interview because that will be more complex. We'll really be getting into like some deeper layers.
Yeah. How deep can you go?
I mean, if you want to like, okay, this is another thing that's interesting about human design, right? Everyone varies too in terms of how much activity there even is in their chart. So for example, I haven't yet interpreted for a reflector. Reflectors are very interesting in that they have literally no definition in their chart at all. So they are very, very open. It means that they're essentially, reflectors are so open to the environments they're in and the groups that they're in. It is really, really essential for that type to land in groups and containers that are good, that are supportive. It's easier for reflectors to be kind of like pulled under if they aren't ushered into the right environments.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people really do. They vary in terms of how many energy centers they have defined, how many channels they have activated, how many gates they have activated. You are going to have a slightly shorter reading if you don't have as many things activated in your chart.
Activated. Is this like activated throughout your lifetime or?
Oh, it's a great question. Ooh, yeah. No one's ever really asked it to me like quite that way too. I like that. Well, I guess, so these all correspond to some pretty set personality traits. But then, of course, things like your incarnation cross, for example, of course, expresses itself throughout your lifetime and can evolve throughout your lifetime, right? But then certain things like the gates. Okay, so every energy center contains different gates.
Okay.
We have the crown, the mind, the throat. Then we have what's called the center of self, or the G center, also sometimes called the ego center. Then we have the heart center, which is actually different from the emotional center. I find that really interesting in human design.
I'm curious.
Our heart is viewed as like the seat of our willpower, our wishes, our desires, whereas the emotional center is viewed as a completely different entity within us. Yeah, which I actually think makes a lot of sense personally.
Okay.
And then we have the spleen, the sacral, and the root, the remaining energy centers. I think this is a good spot to pivot to authority, right?
Authority.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So we all have in human design our inner authority. That's what this is called. And that's going to correspond to one of the energy centers that I just named.
Okay.
And we're all our own special little snowflakes. So we all, make our own best decisions.
I love when you say that.
I know, it's definitely a Jenism. I use that one a lot.
It is. It's like part of what she says. Yeah. And I love it.
I'm glad you do. Well, I say it because I believe it. We are all very unique.
And then the other one, hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
That's Jen.
That's right. So, okay, for example, right, you have the sacral authority and I have the splenic authority.
Okay.
And these are similar but different. So the splenic authority, when I first learned human design, really my incarnation cross that I spoke about earlier and my authority were the two things that stood out to me the most in terms of, oh my gosh, I feel so seen. I feel like what is written in this human design book is explaining how I have felt most of my life up until I read this page, but I didn't have the words for it until I read this. And so, for example, with the splenic authority, this is a rare authority to have. It's said that maybe anywhere from like 8 to 10% of people maybe have this authority. When you have the splenic authority, essentially the advice for you on making your best decisions in life is that logic doesn't figure into it literally at all. Your best decisions are made from an entirely intuition-driven place. And that you sense these things in the moment, whether something is a yes or it's a no. And that if you get a sense of, oh, okay, I'm meant to pause because I don't have clarity, then you aren't meant to make the decision at that time and you're supposed to let it go. And if it's for you, it's going to come back around and it's going to ask for your attention again and ask for you to make a decision again. But if you get a clear yes, great, move forward. And if you get a clear no, you can move forward at your own peril, but listen to yourself. And what was written in particular, Chetan Parkin is the name of this author, whose book I read. What stuck with me most was this one phrase. He said, your decision-making process may look frighteningly rash to other people, especially people who are still really, really making their decisions from the conscious, rational, logical mind, that version of the mind. But it's my job in life to just make my decisions from that place and not sweat how other people are perceiving it. And when I read that, and again, I contextualized like memories from my life, it just made so much sense. Anytime that I made decisions on the fly from the place of my intuition, that was always when experiences worked out better for me than I ever could have imagined. And anytime I went against a splenic signal and I knew that my body and my intuition were telling me no, but I still went ahead with the thing, that was always when I had a more painful experience or I learned a crunchier lesson, which are also great experiences to have, but maybe just not as pleasant as the ones that just work out so nicely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's that. Whereas with you, for the sacral, okay, and this is cool too because you're a generator. So you have definition in this energy center. So this, for you, I feel like what this means, and what gets me excited as your friend, is I feel like you're starting to get really good at this. Sacral response, it is also about a gut response when you have that authority. It's just slightly different from the spleen, in that what advice I tend to give to anyone with this sacral authority is that you are going to have a little check-in moment with yourself. For me, it's like instantaneous primal intuition kind of ish. It's like literally there's no check-in moment. It's just bam, I got the information.
Interesting.
From the sound I just heard, or the smell I just got, or the energy I just picked up on, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
And there is no checking in with my gut moment really around it. It just happens. For the sacral authority, you get gut feelings, and your intuition plays into this. What's always most advisable if you want to make the best decision for you is to have that moment. It can be a very brief moment, but to have that moment of, okay, dropping into my gut, checking in with me. Yeah. How does this feel in this part of my body? Am I getting a yes? And then essentially, if it isn't a yes, right, like I was saying before, it may not be the optimal thing to do at the time.
I love that, because it's been something I've been practicing, is really tuning in to that center to really see what's going on with my body. Like, checking in with my body has been a priority. And as I mentioned, off camera, was my scenario yesterday, which was feeling this aggro and feeling like more of this, where I wasn't listening to my body. So it was definitely feeling a bit like, listen to me, So, all in all, yesterday I really needed solitude, and my body was craving that, but I wasn't necessarily listening, and then having gut issues, putting those together. I've been having a lot of gut issues, and I feel like it all kind of corresponds together with what you're sharing.
Yeah.
And I personally am just so grateful, and that is why I want to have you on here to talk about our friendship also too, because it has been that mirror of just seeing you do the splenic listening so well. I mean, I can't get to the splenic level, but I can still honor my own authority of like what's going on through my sacral.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, I certainly don't view the splenic authority being at like a different level than the sacral in terms of, like spiritual progression or anything like that. Your process is still also very intuitive. And both our processes, our best decision-making processes, do live in the body. The only truly like the sole differentiator that I see is just that it's always most advisable with the sacral authority to just create that moment of check-in for yourself.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 3 seconds. I mean, because, the better you get at it, the faster it happens. The more decisive you get about listening to the signals you're getting from the sacral.
That's so powerful. And that's just only like one little part of it.
That is, I mean, seriously, it's only one component. Like I said, there are 9 energy centers. There are 64 gates. There are 36 channels in total. So depending on what's activated in your chart, like a full tilt, deep dive human design reading can take several hours. Wow. If you really are wanting to get into the nitty gritty. Yeah. Which not all people do,
What's the one that was like both of us had that was similar?
We share one fully activated channel.
Okay. Let's cover that one.
That runs from the spleen to the root. Yeah. So you have a couple, you have some activated gates coming from the spleen. You are a very intuitive person. We know this.
Right.
But I love that actually, because I only have 2 fully activated channels. You have, I believe, 1 more fully activated channel than I do.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
In total, how many is that?
I believe you have 3 and I have 2.
Okay.
Fully activated channels. And just to break it down a bit more, and this will make sense when you pull up the visual of the body graphs that you're going to add. When I say fully activated channel, what that means is that a gate running from one energy center fully connects to a gate running from another energy center, and both of those gates are activated. And then meeting in the middle creates a fully activated channel between those 2 energy centers within you. So you and I both carry this one fully activated channel running from the spleen to the root. called the Channel of Judgment, interestingly.
Judgment?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh, what's that one about?
Well, like I said, right? And then another aspect to this as well is whether the connections running from these gates are conscious, unconscious, or mixed consciousness. So this is another interesting aspect to human design, in that you could have activation that correlates to a certain gate. But if it's an unconscious connection, then that might be a quality in you that gets teased out more as you live life, and that people who get to know you very well point out to you a lot, but that you're not necessarily as consciously aware of in yourself to begin with. Whereas if you have a conscious connection stemming from that gate, when you have a human design reading, generally if you have a conscious connection there, you're going to hear what a reader tells you and think, oh, that's so me.
Yeah.
I'm so aware of that. That's so me.
Right.
That's spot on.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you have a mixed consciousness sort of connection, then the implication is sort of like, okay, maybe you're awake, you're aware of a bit of it, but you're still waking up to some of it and how it operates for you in life and how it shows up. So yeah, this channel that we share, I do see how it really, it helps aid us in terms of like how we complement each other so well with co-leading in healing contexts. Because we'll not only feeling this connection from spleen to root, which just automatically indicates a person who is more intuitive, a person who is more connected to their body. But this channel is also, it's very much about judging, like learning how to judge and evaluate in ways that are constructive and productive. I think the word judgment carries a lot of energies.
It does.
A lot of us, I think, when we hear the word judgment, recoil and contextualize it in a negative way, which makes sense. But it's also right. You used the word discernment earlier, another beautiful word. I see judgment as just kind of also under that umbrella, the same umbrella that discernment lives under. We all go out in life and we run into people and opportunities and situations, and we need to judge for ourselves and evaluate for ourselves. Is this something that I want to enter into? Am I liking the energy here and how it's impacting me? So yeah. Us sharing this channel, I feel like when we co-lead, it kind of shows up in, thankfully, the very like effortless way that we seem to flow and just quickly evaluate how things need to be done, how they need to be set up for everyone to feel safe, to feel comfortable. And then even judging and evaluating what resources we should have with us at play, what tools, all of that.
I like that. That's definitely like how we roll together is through the events. It's like a perfect way to say, like, and show that picture for me to see what the judgment would look like between us. And absolutely, we do hold that container of just, well, holding the container, yes, but then also learning what we need to hold the container, and keep it in a flow that honors that specific event.
Yeah, each of them had their own distinct flavor.
They did.
Group of humans.
I love that about us. Like we make sure that there's always something like different about it, or like, just this newness, like somebody comes back and there's something different about it, a different space or a different, the planets are always moving. Every day is a different day, so we honor that same reflection of like what is needed during that time in season.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we had a beautiful talk. So much to constantly indulge in together. I mean, at the end of it all, if there's anything that the collective can take away, any of the listeners here, it would be to really just observe your friend groups and who's in your circle, and do they honor your system of how you flow? Do they honor their own body and how to listen to themselves? And do you do the same? Because we are that mirror. We're constantly mirroring that person that we are. And it's an outer reflection of that. And you can always pivot. You can always change your friend groups, or, allow yourself to be more aligned. And this friendship it's beautiful. It's really a diamond, a jewel, a gem that I'm so lucky to have with me and to be able to witness in this lifetime.
Same. Same on all accounts.
Yes.
It's a wild time to be alive, and there's no time like the present.
Absolutely.
And I know we both find ourselves landing at a spot in life right now where we're really realizing like life is precious, life is short,
Yes.
and it's too short to expend our energy on containers that aren't aligned.
Yes. Preach, sister. You've been sharing that and living it, and it's been like rubbing off on me too, to like just really be in that space and that headspace of feeling that way too.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you helped mirror that back to me too. And like the last thing I'll say, it's funny. What I find coming up now is again what I did earlier. It's just this mentality of right. I think
releasing.
Often when people can already sense that they're still entertaining people, relationships, containers, jobs, opportunity, whatever, scenarios that aren't aligned, but they're still holding on to them and not yet ushering them out of their lives. It's usually because of this fear around maybe what's going to fill the space once it's there, right? If these things leave my life, I'll be left with this emptiness, with this void. What's going to fill it? I don't know.
Right.
That's scary. And that is a really valid fear. However, all of the magic lives on the other side of that fear. And we have to be willing to sit in the void to then be able to receive the aligned thing. I genuinely do believe that the more and more we do that, the braver we get about releasing and letting go of and surrendering the things we know ultimately aren't a match. The closer we get to all of the things and people that allow our souls to sing and for life to get just like so juicy good at a level that
Absolutely.
we're like absolutely dazzled by.
Yes. I love how we're talking about the depths of this right when the sun goes down. So now it's the witchy hour, you know, like it's the feminine that's ready to like talk and really give the really good juice towards the end when the sun is down.
Exactly. The moon is
love
rising.
It. The
It's
moon
perfect timing.
is rising. Oh, yes. Well, thank you, Queen, for being on here and having this chat. And if you would like to hear more about Jennifer and her beautiful services and her gifts, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Jen_Baute, Baute. I mean, granted, I'm not a super regular Insta user, but you can find me there. And I'll say this. I mean, you know, whenever I do eventually get around to that DM check, if you're in there for human design reasons, for breathwork reasons, for any reasons that stem from this conversation, which was totally magical, then you can bet you'll hear back from me.
Yes.
When the time is right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even reach out through, reaching out through me through email or even through DMing. It's fine. Like I can totally relay the message to her and she'll answer. So all is well if you feel that alignment. And if you would like to hear more about being in your essence, be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Essence of Riss. And if you would like to listen to this specific episode or any of the episodes, you can find them streaming on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And I'll see you in the next one, Soul Babes. Bye for now.